just tuning in live, you are listening to the Angel Rock on 105.3 and 107.7. 105.3 is in Mississippi, can't talk tonight, FM, and 107.7 is out of New Orleans, Louisiana. We're trying to stream to TikTok, and I think TikTok's not going to be helpful, so we'll have to play with that again. I thought I had it figured out, you guys. Once we get talking, I will get things going. I'm just going to start. I'll stream live on TikTok this way. It's easier. So stick with me for just 1 minute. I'm multitasking here. So what I'm going to say is, I got to turn the volume down on here just in case. Okay, it's down. This is the Angel Rock, and I'm your host, Lorilei Potvin. If you've never been here before, welcome. And if you guys are returning, thank you so much. I'm going to remove this, or it's just going to keep coming up on me here. So, hi everybody. You're just tuning into the Angel Rock on TikTok. Hang tight. Anyways, where was I? Got my reminder list. See, I end up doing too many things at once here. We got a comment already. I will say hi in just a minute. Give me 1 sec, guys. So a little bit about myself. I'm a Canadian psychic medium, a crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher and mentor, registered nurse. I am also an animal communicator. I am well versed in near-death experiences, having had one as a toddler myself, and studied them professionally and personally for over 40 years. I'm also extremely well versed in the paranormal. I always say I didn't go looking for the paranormal, it found me. And we shared our story on the Travel Channel's Paranormal Survivor, Season 4, Episode 9. Also, you guys, if you like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell all your friends and family. There really is something for everybody on this network. We've got over, I think, 40 hosts on the network now, and we stream multiple shows daily, 7 days a week. And when we're not streaming live, the archives server kicks into the past 25 plus years. This network's been around and randomly pick shows, so we're always live. I also forgot to mention, I also have a second show on the network that I co-host with my very good friend and gifted medium and angel channeler, David Hansel. It's called The Thing at the Foot of the Bed, on Thursday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I want to tell y'all, we broke a record on that show last week. We hit just over almost 1.1 million people live. So this network does go out to every country in the world, which is a beautiful thing. So, so if you like what you see, please tell everybody about it. Now, if you want to watch us on TV, how you can do that is you're going to go to Roku, because the network does have a TV channel. We are broadcasting on it tonight. And what you're going to do is you go to the channel store, go to the search bar and type in UFO space key as in paranormal. You're looking for a drop-down list or about the third or fourth one down, and you're looking for UFO space paranormal and United Public Radio, and that's how you watch us. Now you're going to see that there's a lot of people that comment on the show, and if you've been to the show or the thing at the foot of the bed, you know they're both very audience participative. So the problem is 80% of our listening audience around the world is audio only. So if you can't see us on the screen, you can't comment, but we'd love to have you join us. So how you do that, you can head over to my Facebook profile, which is public, so you don't have to be a friend. It's the Angel Rock, it's Lorilei Potvin. I was thinking my business page. We're having some trouble streaming with Facebook, so I've been playing with this all day, trying to get us out to everybody. So I'm streaming on UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio on YouTube. On my YouTube channel, The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. We are streaming to Instagram on The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. We are also on my Rumble channel, which is under, believe it or not, Mystique 1508. So if you guys are on Rumble and you're listening, please comment, because I can see the comments in the channel here. Instagram we can't, or TikTok, so I'm going to be going back and forth, and I'm sorry, TikTok, we had you set up with the stream key and it just said it's not going to work, but I will have it ready for Thursday, I promise. So anyways, I'll pop back and forth throughout the show to say hello, but we'd love to have you join the conversation. So you guys, I have to thank, we've got Miss Jilly Jean Bassett here in the chat. She is a friend, but she's also an incredible animal communicator. She's helped me with some of my animals. I have also taken her animal communication course, which she's having this weekend coming up, you guys. So I'll get her to type some info in the chat. I don't know if you still have room or not, Julie, but we got to let people know about that, as well as she is an incredible shamanic practitioner. I have had a session with Julie that was life-changing, so I encourage you to check her out at julie.com. She introduced me to our fantastic guest this evening. Let me put my glasses on. And he doesn't do that many shows, so I feel very honored as of late. He used to, but he doesn't do that many. And he told me this is his 95th live broadcast. So we're going to celebrate that, everybody in the chat. So his name is Tom Dongo. He's recognized as a world authority and one of the United States USA's leading authorities on UFOs, paranormal occurrences, and a remote viewer. And over the course of many years, has been a key lecturer at numerous U.S. national and international conferences, including the International UFO Congress. Studied at the Berkeley International Pyschic Institute in Santa Cruz, California, and has spent the last 30 years in the greater Sedona, Arizona area. That's another one on my bucket list. And Tom knows about two of them now. I don't usually talk about my bucket list. One of these days I'll get there. And then he's also a writer of mainstream magazine articles and the author of 8 books on the paranormal, including The Mysteries of Sedona, The New Age Frontier, The Alien Tide, which is the second book in The Mysteries of Sedona, The Quest 26, Who Have Answered the Calls to Sedona, Peak of Their Spiritual Quests and Experiences, and then The Quest, In Pursuit of the Ultimate Mastery, Merging Dimensions, Volume 1. Then the opening of portals in Sedona. We have so much to talk about, you guys. I'm going to be I know if he'll say yes, you guys are going to want to come back. I know I want him to come back. And everything you want to know about Sedona in a nutshell, unseen beings, unseen world. Welcome, Tom. What an illustrious bio. I'm so glad to have you here.
Well, it's a great pleasure being on your show, Lorilei.
Well, I'm very happy to have you here. So I'm going to say hi to everybody. I always do right when they pop in here. So let's give them a quick hello. They're on the right-hand side here in the comments. I'm going to get past mine. So Julie Jean Bassett says, hi, Lorilei, Tom, and everyone. Heidi Gall, she says, much love from Boulder, Colorado. And she's heading to YouTube. You guys are having trouble on Facebook. We got Michelle Wilfong. Michelle Wilfong is my moderator over on TikTok too. Don't feel like you have to jump over there, but if you are, Michelle, I really appreciate it. And you guys check out her TikTok on. She's got an incredible channel with all the paranormal things going on. We've got Heidi Gall. She says, much love to everybody else. Let's see. Hang on, I'm scrolling down. I love my chat. They're so kind to one another too. Connie Martins. Hi, Lorilei. Let's go down. Oh, Z Sun Dragons here, right up your alley, or Kevin, as we call him, his muggle name. So hang on. Let's see who else we got here. Everybody else just filing in. They usually file in the last few minutes. Let me check Instagram here. Nope, not yet. Sometimes it takes a little bit for people to file. And we got all kinds of people on TikTok, though. I see Trooper Truth. We've got Floral 9. We've got Shane. Let's see what else. Tennille, I think it is. We got a whole bunch of you. So hang tight, guys. I'm going to get the show on TikTok streaming. I promise. So, Tom, I'm going to highlight this for Julie. She says there's always more room for her animal communication course for beginners. You guys, check her out at Julie Jean Bassett. Sign up for it. You will not be sorry, I guarantee you. So, Tom, I was talking to you earlier today, and I said, oh my gosh, the first conversation we had together was mind-blowing. We've got so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hang on. So, you know what fascinated me about you? Well, besides everything, was you are a natural-born remote viewer. And when I was talking to you today, I said, I am shocked that there's a lot of people out there that don't know what remote viewing is. So I thought, why not start with that? What do you think?
Yeah, I know a lot of the best remote viewers in the world, and my ability is a little bit different than most of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why, but I discovered that, a few years ago, I was born with this ability. So, and I've used it many times with incredible accuracy. So I Maureen Saint Germain and I taught it for a while, pretty successfully. I would I would teach what Maureen called the Tom Dongo method, and she would teach the military method.
Well, let's tell people what it is, and let's give her a shout out, because Maureen St. Germain was just on my very good friend Carrie Lynn Shellhorn's channel, I believe 2 Fridays ago. She's got Spirit Switchboard, you guys, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I was in the chat, so I was saying, I bet a friend of yours that taught remote viewing. So what is it, though, for people that don't know what it is? What is it?
Well, it's projecting your subconscious to a place. Time and distance has no meaning whatsoever. I can go into the past very easy, but I cannot penetrate the future. And I don't know of any remote viewer that can, for some reason.
One I heard that's very successful. Laurie Williams talks about him. He gets hired by big corporations if they're going to put out a new product, for example. They get him to project into the future to see if it's going to be successful. But I'd love to hear your reasons why. We're probably going to be on the same page, but it makes total sense why it's hard to do it, to project into the future. But why would you say it is?
Well, I can see other things. Like I say, time and distance it's projecting your subconscious to somewhere, and so it's I've solved murders and a few other things, and so I just I've taught they charge hundreds of thousands of dollars
to teach it.
Yeah, remote viewing, and I tried giving it away free to millions of people. I've been on a couple of shows. There were millions of listeners, so they gave me the time to teach it, and so anyway, what I do is I'll explain it. What I do.
Excuse me.
Yeah, no problem. So I had a psychologist friend of mine, Dr. Tom O'Donnell. He tested me for about 6 months. He wanted to see how good I was. So I was in Sedona and he was in Durango, Colorado, 350 miles away. So he would do stuff, and I got a million stories. I never. So anyway, Tom would put stuff around the house, and I told him once, Tom, I will never go near your bedroom when I go by. See, when I would project myself to Tom's, he had a beautiful house on a mesa right across the San Juan Mountains in Colorado.
Oh, that sounds gorgeous.
Yeah. So I would when I go to Tom, we'd have meetings, we'd say, well, I told him I'll be at your house at 7:00 or something like that, So then I would appear above his driveway, right across from his office window. I'd go right through his office window. I'd project myself through the office window. And some people think this stuff is crazy, but I can prove almost everything I say. I can prove
not
it.
Crazy.
Yeah. So yeah. So anyway, I'll tell you an interesting story in a little bit.
Okay.
So I would go down his stairs, and I could see, but I didn't have a body. And so I'd meet Tom, and we'd do whatever we were going to do. He'd say, "What have I got on the table now?" And if it was in the sunlight, I could see it easy. But if it was in the shade, I had a hard time seeing it. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And,
I'm still here. Just checking. Oh, never mind. I added it anyways.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, we did that for a long time. You wanted to see how good I was, and so that's how we would do it. If he wasn't, sometimes I would. He had a big garden in the back of his house. He loved gardening, and his dog Binky could see me.
Oh, what a cute name!
Yeah, his dog could see me. He's one of those little hair wired deals, these little dogs.
Yeah.
And I would go in there, I one time Tom was out in his garden, and I went through the house and I couldn't find him. So then I went outside and found him outside, and he was in the garden. So on my way to the garden, this even freaks me out.
Okay.
I was on the way. I saw Tom digging in his garden, and his dog runs over to me, is Binky, and he's going,
Because
look,
Binky knew you were there.
yeah, yeah. So I got right down, looked him in his eyes, and I said, "Well, you little bee, you can actually see me." And he's going, look, yeah. And so I felt like a ghost. I mean, the stuff that I was seeing, it would be like a ghost. I mean, it's sometimes it's crystal clear, and sometimes it was foggy, like. So anyway, now this story freaks me. I've talked about this many times on worldwide radio. One time, it really does. It really freaks me. So one time I went to Tom's house, and I went half an hour early, and so anyway
So you snuck up on him.
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't tell him. We were supposed to meet at 7. And I got there half an hour early. So anyway, I was going down the stairs. He had a beautiful house, and I got halfway down the stairs, and a terror overcame me. I mean, really.
Oh, really?
Terrifying. So I stood there for a while. I said, and I was trying to sense what it was, but it just scared the hell out of me.
Interesting that you didn't pull out of it, because a lot of people.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Oh no. I've known for my fearlessness. I mean, I like I said many times, I hunt them on their turf, and I've always done that, and I've never been hurt. So anyway, I couldn't. I said, well, man, I can't find anything wrong. So I'd go down. I went down, sat on the bottom of the stairs, and my body's in Sedona, right?
Yeah.
So I sat on the stairs and watched him.
With your astral body, how about we'll call it?
Yeah. That'd be about as close as. So I was watching him, and he was cooking. You can smell when you remote view. You can smell things.
That wouldn't be good finding a dead body.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it can be. Yeah. That can happen.
That's interesting though, because you're not there with your body, yet you can smell things.
Yeah. Oh, it's a common thing with good remote viewers. So I sat there and I looked at he had a lumberjack red shirt on and blue jeans and a rodeo buckle and cowboy boots on. So we finally we'd call each other on the phone. So I'd say, Tom, I've been here for half an hour. What are you cooking? So yeah. So I said, it smells like chili, and it was something else, some kind of sauce. He's a gourmet chef. So he lives in Illinois now. We're still the best of friends.
What terrified you though? Like, what did you ever?
Oh yeah, I'll get to that right now. So anyway, I said, hey, so Tom and I had this agreement. It was just me and him, right? So I said, hey, Tom, are you alone here in the house? Is there somebody else in the house? Because I already scanned the house and I couldn't see anybody. But he said, yeah, I invited my next door neighbor over to watch this so I could prove it to him. And he's sitting right there on the couch. So I looked at the couch. It was a kind of a cream colored couch, and it was well lit up. And I said, Tom, I can't see anybody there. I can't see anybody. So he says, no, well, he's sitting right there. I couldn't see him.
Wow.
So was he a person that didn't have a soul?
Ah, okay.
See, because they say there are people that don't have souls.
Yeah, I 100% believe it. We can get into that tonight if you want.
Yeah, we can talk about anything you want. I've been, like I say, this is the 95th.
You guys are going to want to have Tom back many times, because I'm telling you, he was having guests in from out of town, and honestly, and I think you felt the same way, Tom. We could have talked for hours. I mean, I had so many questions.
Well, in a couple of months, I'm going to be 80 years old. I've been doing this for 50 years. You name it, I've been into it. Good, the bad. You gave
me a good compliment. You thought I was 40.
Yeah.
I sent your money. I'm going to be, I turned 59 in August. I'll be
59. Yeah. Well, I thought, you look about 40 on the picture. I said, well, how is it? I mean, it kind of bugged me a little bit. It bothered me. I said, how can a woman 40 years old have the same kind of knowledge I have? And I'm almost 80, and I've been at this a long time. So anyway, I'm glad to know you're almost 60. I mean, it makes me feel better.
I wasn't doing this for 50 years though. My paranormal experience is just before I felt the call. I had taken a certified angel card reading course. Psychic ability runs on my dad's side. And as far as I know, because my dad's one of 17 children, people that follow the show know,
Wow.
apparently my grandmother, good French Canadian Roman Catholic family,
Hmm.
was pregnant every year for 25 years and ended up with 17 children. I don't know
Wow.
how. She was not a
Wow.
pleasant woman. But anyways, I'm the only one out of about 150 first cousins, as far as I know, that's out of the
Wow.
spiritual or psychic closet, we'll call
Yeah.
it. Yeah, but this has just been over the last maybe 10, probably 15 years, really looking into this. Otherwise, I never even paid attention to any of this stuff. I used my abilities. I just didn't have a label for it. And they came quite in handy as a nurse, let me tell you. But
Yeah.
mhm.
Well, I don't fit in with normal people. I have thousands of friends online,
Yeah.
but personal friends, I only have one or two or three because nobody else understands me.
Mhm.
I've tried to talk uh, to a normal person, and a lot of times they can't even comprehend what I'm talking about.
I could see why, yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
only have a small, very tiny, tiny inner circle myself. I have tons of acquaintances and people I could call a friend, but my close, close friends are very small inner
yeah.
circle as well. Yeah. Mhm. We
So
can
anyway,
go long when we talk about these topics. I was just going to add that.
you,
We don't. I have a friend, and clients obviously that I work with, and we were just having this conversation last week in one of our sessions because I do energy healing, and they were saying I almost feel like I don't belong. And I said, well, with the beauty of the internet, you will find your people. Because none of my friends live in my city, like close, close, close friends. They don't, because you got to find people like ourselves, right? We find each other, and we got lots to talk about.
well, I'm always saying, why me? Why
Oh,
me?
really?
Yeah,
I always say, why not me?
well, no, this, why me? I mean, I have things that happen. If you read my books,
Hmm.
and I've proven just about everything I said,
Hmm.
I've had the most incredible things happen to me.
Hmm.
I told you earlier that the University of California, Berkeley, I'm
Hmm.
so strange. About 20 years ago, I was sponsored by Dr. James Harder. He was the head of the engineering department at the university. They wanted they wanted
Say hello. My cat's
to
saying hello.
oh, a kitty cat, yeah,
Yes, this is the brat. She
yeah,
usually shows up, or my dog does. Usually when
yeah.
there's activity, whether it's energy or
Oh
spirit.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. They can watch things flying around the room. You go, what the hell are they looking at?
Yep.
So anyway, I, I turned them down because they wanted to hypnotize me for a couple of weeks, and I said I ain't doing it.
Mhm.
But it had a lot to do with extraterrestrials. But they were going to pay all my expenses, flight, everything for 2 weeks at the University
Mhm.
of California, Berkeley, because
Mhm.
I mean I can see into a body like an X-ray machine.
Mhm.
I can. I wrote this down. I never really talked about this before. Uh, I healed a girl of cancer just for the heck of it. Now I don't do that for a living, and I've solved murders. I don't do that for money. I don't do it. You say, why don't I work on murders? Because I have to, at least, I have to experience the murder. I have to feel everything, and I ain't doing it no more.
I am
Uh,
a true crime fan, and I have taken remote view. I took Dr. Chuck Kennedy. He just passed away. I took his course, and so he gave me practice things. He didn't tell me how I did it, but I got like, I think 15 numbers. They were practice ones after I took it. It
yeah.
was a couple hours.
Hmm.
And then he said afterwards, and my friend Jason Bland, who I had mentioned, I remember him saying, oh
Hmm.
yeah, I called in, and he goes, oh yeah, Lorilei took my course. He goes, yeah, she knocked it off right away, because all you get is a 12 or 14 digit number and you don't know what it is, right? But I had to be taught to tap into it. But you are a natural born remote viewer. A lot of people there's not many people like that.
Well, this is what I told. I have found that I tried to train people because I healed a girl of 4-stage cancer. She was dying.
You're
I
making
healed
me
her.
think of somebody I wish I could do that for right now.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Well, I tried. It seems to be I'm the only one that can do it because what I did was, and I had some people that I was trying to train to see if somebody else would do it, but they couldn't. one girl, her sister was dying, and so one day I was well, anyway, the girl, she was 24 years old, and she was just yeah, well, she was Chinese, I think, if I remember right, but she was more concerned with the boyfriend than she was dying of cancer. So I told her mother, you know, in chemo, I hate chemo. I just it's insane. It
I say
doesn't.
chemo kills.
Yeah.
And I worked in that field.
Oh yeah. So oh yeah, I think even doctors don't like it. You know, they did a study of 50,000. They asked them, and only about 3 said they would take chemo if they got sick. So anyway, I said, you know, I told her mother, I said, you know, I can't get through the chemo. I can't get to her cancer because of damn chemo. So she took her daughter off chemo, and I'm going, oh man, what a legal mess this could be. You know, if they sue me, I don't have anything anyway. But still, I felt, you know, that's. So anyway,
it's the heaviness on your soul.
Yeah. So anyway, I was when I was early on, when I was I tell people how I did this. I've tried to train other people to do it, and it seems like I'm the only one that can do it. But
I'm going to hit you up because you know what? Afterwards, if you don't mind, because I would love to even give it a try. I don't know if I could do it or not, but because I could do some medical intuitiveness, but I would love to be able to help people with that.
Well, I'll tell you right now what happened. I'm thinking how. So I started getting these images, and they came from spirit. They said it said that have the girl focus on me. So I told her mother she's got to focus on me. Sit in a chair and think about me. Don't be mind wandering off. And then I would visualize a energy body next to her energy body, and then over a shadow body. So I took the cancer out of her, put it in the energy body.
Oh, energy, okay.
And it started dying. I could watch it dying, and then I put it in the shadow body, and there's nothing for the cancer to live on, so it died.
I'm so in on this. So in on something like this.
Yeah. So no, I don't do this for a living. I don't,
I know, but
that and murders, I don't do them. I don't work on. I don't,
Can I ask you a question that just because I'm like this, things just come to my mind.
Yeah.
What if that was their planned exit point? Like because we know when we're going to leave when we come, right? And we have a planned journey. Would it not work then, or would maybe people just come to you that this was meant to happen?
Oh, it's a good, that's a good question. I was at the Berkeley Pyschic Institute for quite a while, and they say, and they would they say don't ever do something without asking somebody's permission. And I never did. I just did it, So anyway, there's maybe a karmic thing there that you're messing up with, But so anyway, I did that about 7 times, and I've got the letter from her mother to prove it. I'm not.
I believe you.
BSing about this. She said I took my daughter to the hospital, and she's 99% free of cancer. I'm just beside myself with happiness, and so anyway, so I proved it. But
I believe you. Because I have an incredible doctor. I was just going to add really quickly. She's since just is working as an internal medicine specialist in the hospital, but she's from Pakistan. She's the reason why I can sit and do this. Like, she gave me some of my life back for what she did. She told me, we used to have the most fascinating conversations because I was a nurse, right? Even though I couldn't go back. But she told me that she was following this guy over in Turkey, and there was oncologists, a whole bunch of doctors following them, and they would see a recent MRI scan, person completely full of cancer. This guy would use his hands, literally direct energy. People would be scanned after, and the tumors would be gone. I'm covered in goosebumps telling you this.
Well, you probably saw that video of the Chinese. The doctors surrounded the guy, and he had a cancer about the size of a baseball, and they focused energy on it, and it disappeared. Cancer disappeared.
Did Augie Noss, because I see Augie follows you, and Augie's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
He sent me that video, and it was a lady with cancer of the bladder in China, and they were chanting and chanting, and the ultrasounded it, and it completely just disintegrated.
Just disappeared. So Augie's a good friend of mine. I've been on his show 5 times.
Augie has been on this show so many times. I know Lori Augie and I used to be on the same network when I did the show Monday through Friday, and we're really good friends. I knew you. I'm surprised I never asked you when we talked, because Augie is a good friend of mine. I love Augie. I love him so much. He's such a sweetheart. He is.
Yeah, I have a good time on his show.
Mm-hmm. Cindy's got a comment, but kind of like a question. She says, wondering if that's similar, like when you were talking about putting it into an energy body and then a shadow body. She's saying, I wonder if that's similar to people that use or create a golem to take the pain and suffering.
A what?
A golem? It's, as I understand, I think it comes from Jewish faith. And they can create like an effigy. I have seen sometimes, I don't know if they call it forth from a different dimension or what, but I don't think it would have a soul either. And I think that's what she's talking about. Feel free to correct me if I'm speaking of something different, Cindy. It kind of sounds like it wouldn't be that you'd be creating a shadow body. To me, that would almost seem more ethical, though, because really there's nothing for the cancer to live on, and it's literally just absence of light. Versus a golem, especially if it was something you called from another dimension, you would be giving it to something else. Yeah, she says it's Jewish faith. That's what I thought, a golem. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard the term. I never knew anything about it.
You know how I found out about them? Okay, so I don't watch much TV. But everybody that knows me on the show, I have one guilty pleasure. It's called Supernatural. And it was on for 15 seasons. And it's about 2 brothers that go around fighting monsters, and there's angels. But the thing is, a lot of their stuff, they actually, when I looked up some of the episodes, they based it on actual real legend and lore. And they had an episode with a golem. That's what I knew.
Well, when I was younger and crazier, I did battles with evil entities. This is a long story.
Do tell.
I said, there's no Satan, there's no devil, but there is what I call an awful evil out there, and it is awful.
I had it. I had it. When you're finished, I'm going to tell you what I ran into. What started my whole journey here.
Yeah, I love this stuff. I mean, I've got this curiosity that's just.
That's how I am. I don't prepare questions before a show. I'm not nosy. I always, before I start a show, I literally do this. I say, okay, Spirit, where are we going to go with this conversation? So I go that way because I love to learn from other people and about them.
Oh, so do I. Yeah, me too. I'm not the only one. I'm not trying to say, well, I'm the only one. I'm the one.
That way, I love it. I love it because you're interested, and so let's hear about these. Or do you want me to tell you quickly? These people have heard it before. Go quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was still married to my first husband in my previous home I was living, but nothing ever went right in that home. When we moved there, I hurt my back. I was planning on being a doctor. My second son, now again, these things can happen to other people. I understand this, but it was like a conglomerate. My second son was born, almost died. 5 months. At 5 months, I knew something was wrong. He's now almost 27. He's got severe autism. I picked up on it right away. My husband had a change in him. Like, he was never abusive or anything, but he was more quiet than I was. But it was like he was depressed. He had 3 professional business designations, couldn't make any money, get any job. Everything was going wrong. And then we'd have little things before him and I broke up. Like, where most people keep their keys at the front door, where they are. You'd see them bend down to put your shoes on, keys would be gone. You think you're going crazy, looking all over the place. Long story short, we did split up. And the partner I'm with now, Dell and I were friends, and he had moved in, and we're still in a relationship. But I still remember, like, this happened 10 minutes ago, Tom. There was a tree in my front yard in the old house, and I was outside, and there was a man sitting in my tree. I can tell you what he was wearing,
Yeah.
everything. And he says, "Hello, Lorilei." And he goes, "You know that little business of yours?" Because I'm always
Yeah.
very creative,
Yeah.
doggy stuff and whatever. It was like he knew. He goes, "You know that little business of yours? That's nothing. I can give you wealth. I can give you fame. I can give you
Oh,
anything you
geez.
want if you
Yeah.
agree to follow me." Well, just hear this. Hear the rest.
Oh, no, I got a story. Yeah, go ahead.
I can't wait to hear your story. Okay, so
Yeah.
what happens is it's not radio friendly, but I told
Yeah.
him in no uncertain terms
Yeah.
to get the you know what out,
Yeah.
and I would no way agree. And then he says, and I kept saying, "Who are you?" And he used these words, "I'm a demon." I said, "Really?" And I
Yeah.
said, "What's your name?" So he told me the name. He spelt it for me.
Yeah.
And again, much more emphatically and not in pretty language that I could say on the radio.
Yeah.
I told it where to go. And then he looked down at me, mocking at me, and said, "Oh,
Yeah.
no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every time you see a crow or raven, you'll know who it is." And I called on Archangel Michael in the dream.
Yeah.
Brilliant flash of royal blue, silver white. I wake up in a sweat, crying and shaking. That's not me. And all
Uh-huh.
hell broke loose
Yeah.
in my house. And then everything he told me, because I could not find this name. I'd never heard it. I'm a
Yeah.
retired Roman Catholic, but I've been in church, forced to go to the school, never heard this name before. I was helping somebody else with paranormal activity about 5 years later. Everything he told me in that dream was right there in black and white. Everything.
Yeah.
Mhm. So let's hear your story. I'm dying.
Yeah. Okay. I'll finish the other one real quick.
Okay, go for it.
The battle I did with
We have too much to talk about.
the demon. Yeah. Oh, no, I have endless stories.
Mhm.
You know, if you got a couple of days, we'll just keep going.
Yes,
But
I see.
at any rate, there was a guy. He was a chiropractor, and he was building a multi-million-dollar building.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's a long story, but he was in a class I was in on the teachings of the inner Christ. It's a book.
Mhm.
And so we saw we had an experience with it. A woman got possessed. I mean, it's a long story, and it was damn scary.
Because there's evil things from lower dimensional entities, right?
Yeah.
Because the energy can either be created nor
Yeah.
destroyed. But not everybody's running around thinking love and light. That energy's got to go somewhere, right?
Well, the entity that got her, she was just waiting for a chiropractic appointment. She started shifting around and going like this. And I looked over. I says, "Uh-oh, we got a problem." There were 20 people in a row in a circle. So I was in my friend Kitty. She had a rule. She was the boss. Don't tell her. Don't interrupt. Don't tell her anything. So I'm waiting. I'm looking at Kitty. I said, "Kitty." She was watching the same thing. I said, "Do something." Because we were reading a book, The Teachings of the Inner Christ, and it was how to take a demon out of a person. So anyway, this woman comes over, and I said, "Don't touch me." She's going around to everybody and saying, "You need to be healed. You need to be healed." And I mean, it was insane. She was raving biblical phrases at the same time. And saying you have to be healed, you have to be healed. And I said, "Don't touch me." Yeah. So anyway, she goes around to everybody and sits on the lap, shoves her fingers in people's mouths, and she comes to me.
Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah. So she comes and sits on my lap and does that to me. I said, I looked in her eyes, and I was watching the woman trying to get her body back, and the demonic thing. It was a battle going back and forth, and it was so clear. Because the woman, you could see she was trying to get her body back. It was a fight. And that the other thing, the demonic thing, what the hell ever it was, would it would get back. It would go like that, And so then went around to the room, and I looked at Kitty and I said, "Kitty, you got to do something." So then she did. She
like, help me out here.
Yeah. So she laid the woman on the floor, and they did an exorcism on her. It worked. Mm-hmm. But anyway, the other guy, what was I going to talk about? Anyway, the other guy, he had this multi-million-dollar building in I have to be a little careful. I don't use people's names or anything.
Perfect. No problem.
It's been so long that it doesn't matter now. Anyway, I mean, it's been, probably 50 years. But so, and I forget his name, but he's a young guy. But oh yeah, and the demon got him while he was in the room. When he left the woman and went into him. So and then I saw it, and it was like a black blob, and I did an energy battle with this thing, and I said, this is unfair, because you don't have a body and I do. I mean, I'm telling you the way it happened. I mean, it's really so. Anyway, the guy disappears. He's got all these contractors working on this multi-million-dollar building in Santa Cruz, and he just disappears. I found out later he's hiding out in Big Sur down on the coast. But the contractor said, we'll give him one more day, and he would have lost the building, millions of dollars. So I saw him. I was doing a meditation group in Santa Cruz, and I saw him walk in. So I'm sitting there kind of meditating, getting ready to, because I used to channel. I used to be a really good channel, and I used to teach channeling. So anyway, he comes in and he gets on his knees in front of me. He says, "Tom, I need help."
Aww.
Yeah, and I said, "I know you do." So I did a kind of a thing on him right there,
right?
And he went back the next day and saved the buildings. And so I must have, I have this feeling either they fear me or they respect me. These things, demonic or whatever, all of them. I've experienced, huh?
I think they fear it, because I have dealt with somebody that was possessed.
Yeah.
When I looked in this person's eyes and I knew them, we were in a different country, and they couldn't say the name of Jesus. They could not say anything with that whatsoever. Yeah. They adored their children and they adored animals. And that night, with one look, their adult son was doubled over in pain. She was hurting her dogs. The dogs were screaming. And when I looked in her eyes, I went, God, I don't ever want to see that kind of evil again. She was levitating on camera. I swear on my children's heads. Yeah. And then this is the creepy part. I was thinking it was 3:00 in the morning, my time. And the story that this all happened is insane. I won't get in. It's too long. But anyways, I think, who do I know that's up at 3 a.m? Like, this was quite a few years ago. And a friend of mine on the West Coast was awake, and he's a paranormal investigator. So I call him. I say, I need some help with this. Like, I'm not sure what to do for this person. He didn't see the levitation, but it wasn't a lot of help. So anyways, I got off the phone with her, and I'm up. Like, I just can't sleep. And it's about 5:30 in the morning. I get a message on Messenger that says, it's time. And I thought, for what? And then about an hour, nothing again. Then about an hour later, I'm praying for her in my head. Yeah. And I'm saying the Our Father, and I get the most foul message back. You cut that effing SHIT out right now. I know exactly what you're doing. Like, these things are so foul and so evil. Yeah. People don't realize.
Putrid.
You can call them whatever you want to call them. Because I agree, hell doesn't exist and demons don't exist, but there are lower astral realms.
Yeah.
It's horrible. The look, I will never forget that look. You can't even describe it. I'm covered in goosebumps just thinking about it.
Well, there are things. Don't let me forget this story. I want to tell you about the guy that jumped into my car was all dressed in black. Don't let me forget that, because
my gosh.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing you were just talking about. No, I forgot what I was going to say. Well, let me tell you.
Just keep talking. It'll come back.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I got a million. I mean, so anyway, I put this on the internet a while ago, and So anyway, there used to be a guy, because I lived in Sedona. I live in Cottonwood now. It's 20 miles from Sedona. I lived in Sedona 38 years. So I was there for the best of the best stuff in Sedona. Sedona's an incredible place.
I've heard.
It's magic used to exist in Sedona, and in a way it still does. But I'm talking about magic. It used to exist. We would experience it all the time back in the old days. So anyway, there was this guy. there was this guy. He was. I called him Ichabod Crane.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a lot of yeah, a lot of people lived in the woods around Sedona. Nobody bothered them then. Now you go to jail if you get caught sleeping in the woods.
Oh,
But
that's unfortunate.
yeah. So anyway, there was. But anyway, so he was. He was. Uh, oh, I took him. I took him back to his camp. It was up near uptown. He was living in a tent in the woods. So. And anyway, so he was talking on the way. He was talking about this guy was a little bit nuts. He was a computer expert. He repaired computers. That's how he made a living. But so anyway, he was real tall and skinny. I called him Ichabod Crane.
I was picturing him when you said that name. Yeah. Okay.
So he's telling me this wacky story about every time he walks, he goes into his camp. The little people catch rides on his shoes. So they all ride to his camp and they run off, So I'm going, yeah, well, okay, that's pretty cool. So anyway, now get a load of this. I mean, this even freaks me out. I've tried to talk to some people. There's a couple of people I want to run it past. I know a woman that's probably the world's best psychic, and I'm gonna, I might talk to her about her later. But anyway, she's a good friend of mine. She lives here in Cottonwood. Anyway, so. Now get a load of this. It's pit. This is back when Sedona, you could drive from one end of Sedona all the way to West Sedona, not past one car either way. Now it's bumper to bumper traffic all the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, so I drop him off, and so I'm I'm sitting there thinking. My brain's always working on something. So I'm sitting there and waiting for to make a turn at a stoplight. Stop sign, and so I look over, and there was a guy standing there, going like, can you give me a ride? He's going finger with finger, right? So I said, where did this guy come from? I didn't see anybody around. So anyway, I said, yeah, sure, jump in. And I had a little Toyota at the time, a small one.
Right.
Yeah, they were a lot smaller back in those days. So anyway, the guy gets in. And he's got his big duffel bag, this huge, and he manages to cram himself. And I'm looking at him, and he's all dressed in black hair, black eyes, not the whole. Oh. Yeah, right. So I didn't, I'm not. That was when I was in the height of metaphysical stuff, so I wasn't too freaked out about it. But anyway, so. I pull out, make a left-hand turn, and the guy, now this really still to this day freaks me out. The guy started talking. He picked up where Ichabod Crane left off, and he's talking, and I'm it breaks into my thought, and I'm going, wait a minute, what's going? And then he yells, look at me, as loud as he could, look at me, and so I did, and we're going down the road, and he said, do you know who I am? And I just kind of nervously shook my head. So he gave me, I put this on the internet. I only put 3 words. I didn't put the last one on. But he said, if you repeat these 4 words, you can have anything you want in life.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going, yeah, I'm no fool. Sell your soul. So anyway, I went about another mile, and he wanted to he got out anyway. So. Yeah, I asked around, did anybody ever see this guy around? And nobody ever did. So anyway, it was, who was this guy? Was he the devil? Was he a demon? Because he wasn't normal, but he didn't harm me in any way. But,
if you're asking, I'm going to give you my thoughts.
Yeah.
Because the one that came to me, and this was all that I could find on it. And I don't repeat the name. I'm not afraid of it. You would not believe the amount of people that have messaged me from seeing our TV episode wanting the name. And it's like, no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, and it's because you don't give them energy.
Yeah.
He was supposedly the one that came to me. One of the first 40 of the fallen, like one of the first 40 created under the fallen angels, if people believe that.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel almost like this is something like this for you. And he wasn't afraid of you, and nor was this thing that was in my tree. There was a man, and he was, I can tell you what he was wearing and tell you everything.
Yeah.
Now, I was told years ago when I was looking for help, like I said, this is kind of how I got into this field and tapped into what I'm doing. They kept saying to me, and I thought it sounded so egotistical in the beginning, but now I kind of understand it better. They said, these type of entities are being sent out to stop people like yourself and you from what you were doing, because you were making a positive change for humanity, for life, for
Right.
people, like with the light, right?
Yeah.
So if they can stop you or trick you, you're not
Yeah.
that foolish, nor was I, because I was
No.
laughing like, why would you think I want wealth and fame and like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's just materialism. I'm
Yeah.
not into that. And so what they want to do is to stop people like you've done. This is your 95th show. Look at how many people you've taught. Look how many things you have done. And by the thing is, I think without disrespect, because I'm not trying to stir up trouble,
No.
you're foolish because they think that every human being is the same and that you're going to
Yeah.
want somebody else would want or be tricked that easily. So if they could stop you, right? That's what my thoughts are. It was a minion, but a higher up minion. That's my thoughts.
Well, you know, I used to get attacked all the time. In fact, I gave it up 3 times. I said, I can't take this anymore. I mean, I got attacked by big people, verbal stuff and written stuff, and you know, big people. So I quit 3 times. I said, I can't take any more of this stuff. I can't, this kind of abuse. But, you know, I've talked about 90 million people since, and not one complaint, none, zero. So something has majorly changed. You know, the stuff people don't you know, come at me for the things I say because they have open minds now. You know, and I talk about some pretty wild stuff on some of these shows. You know, so you know, I am a little bit careful. I mean, I talk about stuff I wouldn't have dared to talk about 5 years ago. Wouldn't have.
But TV has, like I always say, you know, I can appreciate that TV has brought the paranormal into a more open field and basic. I'm not talking ghosts for people listening. It's just
No.
anything that is outside the norm of conversation. But it's also just as humanity usually does. We come across something that can really be used for good and it gets twisted for greed and evil at times.
Yeah.
So it is easier to talk about these things. But, you know, I think more and more people are starting to say, why am I here? There has to be more to why I'm here. And it's literally like people, whether they want to or not, are tapping into things like past lives and, you know, their higher self or subconscious. And they're tapping into things, or they're getting glimpses or visions. I've met so many people like this.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Well, you know, being a remote viewer, and I am very good. I mean, I don't do it all the time, but sometimes when my energy is good, I see things. So, you know, when I was, I'm trying to focus on, anyway, you know, Connie Willis on Coast to Coast is a
I love Connie. We talked about it. Yes.
Yeah, she's Connie and I are special friends, but I was on the Coast to Coast one night. You know, there's about 10 million listeners that night. They have on weekends, prime time. It's a big audience. So I said, Connie, I'm gonna talk about this. And you know, people that have messaged me say your show is one of the top 10 of Art Bell or Coast to Coast. So well, that's cool, you know, So anyway, I told Connie, now this is something I don't understand it. I was you know, the missing 411 David Paulides. Oh, that's a you know, if anybody wants to see something really creepy, watch the movie The Missing 411. It's thousands of people now.
Okay. So, I got so many questions. Go ahead.
You know, you and I having just too much fun. That's all.
We always. I just dropped my phone. I'm streaming on TikTok. Sorry, everybody. I get too excited.
So anyway, you know, I talk about this stuff because I have experienced it. So I you know, the people that, you know, David Paulides talks about the national parks, and it happens in all the national parks. People just disappear.
What's happening for people that never heard of this? What do you think?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I would track them. You know. So anyway, on the missing 411, David Paulides had, you know, he had places where they disappeared, names. So I had a name and a place. So there was this deer hunter that had, you know, I mean, they just poof, they just disappear. So anyway, I could track him. See, I was trained at the Berkeley Psychic Institute. We leave, if you're thinking of somebody, you leave a trail.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's an energy trail.
Yeah.
And
We just said at the same time, energy trail. Yep.
yeah, and you can follow it. And I've done it many times. I don't do it much anymore, but I can tell you some interesting
That's how
stories.
they used to do it, apparently, especially like in the Australian outback and stuff.
Yeah. The Aborigines. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I said, I said, Connie, I'm going to talk about this. She was kind of hemming and hawing. And
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Connie and I are just the best of friends.
You
She's a
should have
sweetheart.
just told her that's how we'll track Bigfoot.
Yeah. So, yeah, don't get me in a Bigfoot or we'll never get out of here.
I might get you there. Do you realize it is already 7:12 p.m.? Yeah. I'm supposed to do a station ID, so hold that thought quickly. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin on UPRN or UFO Paranormal United Public Radio Network on 105.3 out of Mississippi FM, 107.7 out of New Orleans, Louisiana. And you guys, if you want to come join the whole chat over here, you can head over to YouTube, Lorilei Potvin, the Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. There, okay, go for it.
Okay. So this guy, but if you haven't seen that movie, The Missing 411, it's a mind blower. Even some of the things that happen, I don't understand. I mean,
Stan, who you mentioned to me, Stan. What was his last name? Friedman? Was it Friedman?
Yeah, Stan Friedman, the nuclear.
Guess what? My partner Del knew all about him. I told you would. If I don't know about him, Del does.
Stan Friedman was one of my best friends, and we didn't see eye to eye, but we were on 2 shows together, nuclear physicist, and Stan was really, he got attacked all the time by people too, but he was a nuclear physicist. I mean, you can't, he was no dummy. You can't just attack him because, anyway, Stan Friedman, he died in the airport about 4 years ago. Poor guy.
Well, we'll get to him. See what Connie just said, there isn't enough time to talk about all this good stuff. I told you, I said, we are not going to have enough time. So you were saying David Paulides, and I haven't seen the movie, but I do know about the missing 411 and more people are disappearing. So what's going on there? What do you think?
Okay. So I found the energy trail. I pretty much found where the guy disappeared. So I found the trail where he left. And I've done this before. Right. And one of the things, I was being questioned on a show, and some guy said, did you go up or did you go down? And I said, that's a very good question. I never thought of it. No, always up fast. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I'm trailing this energy, this guy that disappeared, and we're going up and up and up and up real fast. Mm-hmm. And suddenly I get somebody slammed on my brakes, and I'm going, what the heck is going on? So anyway, a voice said, "This is as far as you go," and so I'm looking. Okay, this is a complicated story. You told me
some of this story, and you had to get off the phone, so I was kind of hanging there. Yeah. Hi, Linda Miller, a good friend of mine from growing up. She's over on Instagram. I said I'd say hi. Okay, so you started to tell me this story, and then you had to go to your guests were showing up or something.
Yeah. So anyway, there used to be a wall. Remote viewers would run into a wall. In General Stubblebine, I went to a thing in Denver, and General Stubblebine, there were about 800 people in the audience. The world's best.
His wife very well.
Oh, yeah, you told me that. Yeah, you told me that. So, yeah, right. Small world, eh? Yeah. So anyway, the world's best remote viewers were there in the audience, and he said none of us know how to get through that wall, and I wanted to, jump up and down, raise my hand. I know, because I learned early on how to get through that wall. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I'm looking at the wall, and the voice said, "Don't even try it." So I'm thinking, I said on Coast to Coast. So what is behind that wall that I was looking at? That whoever they are, don't want us to know. So a whole lot of people called. Into Coast to Coast, evidently, over there. So, I mean, what was behind that wall that none of them, whoever they are, want us to know? Yeah, well, there's
or the Watchers, one of the Watchers.
Yeah, I would say Watchers. No, there's things going on around us that I know the best of the best on this planet. I talk to them, and I say things like, they look at me kind of funny. What are you talking about? But there's something going on this planet that none of us know. None of us understand it. I mean, none of us, because they haven't. I've brushed on it. So it's like what's his name? The first in 1920, Charles Fort
Mm-hmm.
said we the last thing he said. His research was only on newspaper clippings and magazine clippings.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, we are somebody's herd of cattle. That's the last thing he ever said. And he's right.
He is.
In one way or another, we are somebody's herd of cattle. So what's the why? What's the intent? What's the the mystery that we're not supposed to know? I mean, are we that stupid? Are we that not important or whatever? I don't know. I said I've hunted them on their turf, and I've never, my fame is the Bradshaw Ranch. I mean, we can get into that on another show if you want to. But
okay, so I'm going to give you a thought though. Okay, about what you were, and anybody that has thoughts, you guys feel free to throw it in the chat. Why do you think we're basically an experiment, but who are we the experimentees for?
Yeah.
To me, okay, so when I connect with spirit, the way spirit's shown it to me is there's a lineup to come here. So with souls, because coming here, you come here, most of us with spiritual amnesia, meaning we don't remember anything from previous lives. We come in these dense, heavy, fragile bodies. And then, as I understand it, when I connect to other world, entities or whatever you want, not bad things, but good things, right? They always say human beings are a young race. Our propensity for violence and the depth and breadth of emotion. And they say it with no disrespect, but almost like we're at that terrible 2 stage. And it just confounds them to see how we are to one another. So to me, I when I feel into it, doesn't feel quite like ET. No. But definitely like a higher hierarchy of something much on a higher dimension looking down. And I'm not really sure why. I can't tell you why. This is up Howie's alley. So Howie Odell, he says, evening all, tips top hat, evening love. Hey, evening Tom, good to see you. Now Howie has, for everybody just tuning in, he's a big supporter of UPRN. He has a Rift Nation network. David and I have been on his show, The Orion Effect, a couple times with this amazing co-host and a good friend of mine, Rhonda Harris. So you just missed the big thing that we were asking, because Tom was sharing this about what Charles Ford had said back in the 1920s, that we're well, you go ahead and repeat it. Was it that we're an experiment? Is that what you said?
Yeah, no, Charles Ford, the last thing he said, and he was, how does a guy just reading newspaper and magazine articles come to a conclusion like even the most of us can't? Yeah, he said the last thing he said, we are somebody's herd of cattle. That's the last thing he ever said.
Yes. I knew I didn't get it right. A herd of cattle, yes.
Yeah.
But who?
So, yeah. So, So, I don't know. This is
Howie says, look at him and what Adam Bird found. Howie thinks he's right. I'm not sure which one you're talking about, Charles or Adam.
No, Charles Ford.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Well, I just said his first name, Charles, because he goes, look at him, meaning, look at him. Oh, now Howie's commenting like crazy. I got to go up higher. Sorry. He says, look at him and what Adam Bird found. And then he says, he is right. So is he saying, you were right, Adam's right, or Charles Ford was right? That's what I'm trying to. Oh, he says Admiral. I'm not sure what he's talking about.
Oh, Admiral Byrd, yeah, the Antarctic, yeah.
Oh, now I get it.
Don't get me.
Sorry, I really read that wrong, Howie.
Don't get me started on that one.
See, and I'm not trying to pressure you, but my audience is. So Connie wants to know. So, are we someone's experiment gone bad?
No. It's just there's. I've tried to teach literally millions of people how to remote view. A remote viewer can see this stuff. They can see it and sense, see it. It's a you can understand it. And I've been called one of the world's best by important people. So I ain't no beginner. So but a remote viewer, a good one, you can sense, see things that are hard to explain, because you're the only one that sees them. And I have one of my best friends. He's a retired Air Force colonel, and he was one of the original remote viewers with Ingo Swann and Russell Targ. One of the original.
Ooh.
Yeah,
You and I have so much to talk about.
So yeah, his name's Ron. He's an old man now, but he's in his 80s. But
Oh, there we go. And Chuck Kennedy, I took his remote viewing. Howie just said, Chuck, and I know he's talking about Chuck Kennedy. He said you were the best. So yes. And I learned from Chuck Kennedy about remote viewing, and I'm so sad that he just recently passed away a few months ago.
Yeah. So many people. My best friends are on the other side now. Almost all my best friends are on the other side.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, that's the way it is. I can speak to spiritual beings, and I said, you try to send me back here, and there's going to be a fight.
Okay, so I always laugh when people say that, because I've met so many people, and I'm not making fun of anybody. It's not my job to judge, but they always say, I'm not coming back. This is my last trip here. Yeah. And then I say, well, we have to wait till we get back and we become who we really are, because we're just a soul having a human experience right now, right? So we're looking at it with, maybe not you, but most people are looking at it with human eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
maybe.
Okay, so you brought up about. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Maybe some other time. I talk to extraterrestrials, and they have a language that's very.
Oh, now you got to say something. I had another question, but now you got to talk about that.
Yeah. Please. Okay. Well, there was a while back. I had a girlfriend, and she really loved this stuff. So, extraterrestrials. I've been able to communicate with extraterrestrials and archangels. I talked to Archangel Michael. That was easy. And he said, one thing I wish you people would do is don't put us on pedestals. Don't treat us like angels or archangels. We prefer that you treat us like yourself, and learn from us, but don't put us on pedestals and make us super special, because we're not. That's what Archangel Michael told me. So what do we do? I mean, most people are,
thing to share, and here's the reason why. Because again, going on lots of different podcasts, you kind of got to have your finger in a bunch of different pots just to keep on top of things. But the one thing I have found with humanity, especially over in North America or most developed countries, they tend to idolize celebrity. And I try to explain to people that they are no different than anybody else. You just happen to have been on TV. Yeah. And so I love that you shared that about Archangel Michael, because I think that's something important that people can learn, because I've never gotten it about the celebrity thing, because they really, even you hear more money, more problems, right? And it's not so much that, but people are shocked, even when you work with people and like from an energy or healing perspective, and you explain that when, we can be the worst to ourselves in our own head, that inner voice, but you explain that other people have very similar problems. Now, it's not to minimize what the person is going through, but most people are very shocked to hear what other people are going through. They're very similar things, right? Because you feel like you're the only one.
Well, see, it makes people feel inferior, and that's the problem. They're I grew up dirt poor. I mean, Appalachian poor. So we had, I grew up with my mother that could barely afford to, she had 2 or 3 jobs. And so I've been, in the dirt. So I've been there. It's about as hard as it gets. So I've come up. I'm world famous. That's just the way it is. So I've learned it. I've earned it. Excuse me. Because I'm kind of getting tied up here, but anyway, I did what I wanted to do. Period. I mean, my whole life I've done what I wanted to do. So I learned all this stuff the hard way, the hardest way you
So
can
how
imagine.
did you get into this then? Because I usually start at the beginning, but we had so much to talk about. I do have Kathy Honeyfiddle's comment. She said, "We're not ready to know. We're growing. We are growing for a new enlightenment, and the watchers are waiting to bring us further."
Yeah,
and I agree. So what? Okay, so I usually start at the beginning, but we had so much to talk about.
Yeah.
How did you realize that you had these abilities? Like, did you have, like you just said, did you grow up in Appalachia, for example? Because that's a magical place.
No, I grew up in New England. I won't say where.
Okay, but how did you know that you were different than other people? Because
I things started happening around me. You know, I would just be positioned like on the Bradshaw Ranch.
There's where I was going to go when you brought up about talking to you each year. Go ahead. Yep.
I've been exposed to stuff that very few people have ever been exposed to. And I've been. We had a TV and a different on the Bradshaw Ranch. We had a different TV crew from around the world just about every week. And I was interviewed, and I got a good story to tell you. Okay. So I was, and I won't say who, but there was one crew. There was a 17-member camera crew. And one of a doctor had gone insane the day before when they were at New Mexico at Mesa. Anyway, so they were in a bad shape, and so I directed this 17-member camera crew. I said, "No, you guys, what you guys are going to do isn't going to work." I mean, they couldn't think, they couldn't do anything, they didn't do it right. So I told them for the whole weekend. You know, they were. So anyway, the last night, I want to get to the other story, but the camera crew was, oh yeah, okay. I don't want to get two stories mixed up.
We got so many stories, and what am I going to talk about? Because there's so much to share.
Yeah, but I mean, it was so. And a famous guy. He was asking me questions, and they had such a rough time in Dulce that the whole crew was drunk. The girls, the camera girls, they weren't cameramen. They were all girls, you know, 20s. Yeah, and they were so drunk they couldn't hold the camera up. And, you know, you know, I looked over at the producer and he's going, "Oh, F me," you know. Yeah. Okay. So anyway. Okay, and then the other thing, let's see,
So you directed, you said you directed these guys, these 17, the camera crew, because you said it wasn't going to work. This is at the ranch, right? The Bradbury Ranch? Well,
no. So the other thing is, it was at the Bradshaw Ranch on Bradshaw Hill. But the other thing was, I had a Japanese camera crew, and about half of them could speak English. So that's what I was thinking. Yeah, right. So we're up on Bradshaw Hill. There's a hill above the Bradshaw Ranch. So we were sitting up there, and I was bored. I got interviewed so many times, and so I was sitting in a chair, and the crew was getting set up with the lights and the booms and all that stuff, you know, and a UFO materialized right behind them.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and it was red and white, and the funny thing around here, the UFOs are almost all orange. However that figures, I don't know. But I've seen about 400 UFOs. I tell people I don't want to see any more UFOs. I've seen enough. You know, I've seen probably about 400. Guessing. So anyway, so I said, "Hey guys," because they were all looking at me, and the UFO was right behind them. I said, "Turn around and look what's behind you." So the cameraman, he turned the camera, and he got 3 seconds of full frame shot of that UFO, full frame, 3 seconds. So and then it blinked out. It just disappeared. It blinked out. So I asked the producer, "Did you get it?" And he just talked to the cameraman. He said, "Yeah, we got 3, 4." And they showed it in Japan, but they wouldn't give me a copy of it. Why? Yeah, I don't know. I even had a Mexican politician try to put pressure on him to give me a copy. Actually, Brazil.
That's weird.
She was a Brazilian diplomat, and she couldn't get it either. So
Can
anyway,
you
so
call them in? Can you call them in with your abilities? Like,
well, you can't, well, mm,
they're not going to do what we tell them to do. I just meant if there's any in
no,
the area.
no. Then no, it's people ask me, I say no, it's totally chance. I mean, there's nothing you can, like.
You know what, you were talking to me earlier, it just came back to me now. Remember when we were talking on the phone and you were talking about folding time and how
Oh yeah, yeah. How much time we got left?
not a lot. It's 7. Well, it's take 2 hours away, 5:32 your time. So we can go almost till 6 o'clock your time. Like, what, I want to give you a minute for people to know where to find you, and I know people are going to.
Oh no, I know, I'm a reclusive. I'm a reclusive hermit. Oh yeah, here, this is my. Everybody go out and buy this book though. It's merging. Let's see, Merging Dimensions. This is my bestseller.
The incredible. Oh, did I miss that in the title? Because I took that off your website.
No, Merging Dimensions, my bestseller. This is my bread and butter. It's about the Bradshaw Ranch, Merging Dimensions. So everybody go out and buy a copy of that. It's about the Bradshaw Ranch, and it's
okay.
been.
So what's so special about this ranch for people who've never heard of it? Because they've all heard of Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah. Okay, you know about the Skinwalker Ranch. Okay, the Skinwalker Ranch has had a lot of bad stuff happen, but it never did on the Bradshaw Ranch. It was always benevolent stuff on the Bradshaw Ranch. I mean, I was involved in it. I was there for 4.5 years with the Bradshaws.
Okay.
So I had experiences that probably very few people on this planet have ever had.
Can you share one or two?
If you can, I respect that, but
no, read my books. Read my books.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it's all in Merging Dimensions. It's a couple.
Okay, then I got a completely different question to ask you then.
Yeah.
Where and what do you think Bigfoot is? Where do you think it comes from?
Yeah. No. Bigfoot. I've studied Bigfoot since I was 16 years old. They are real.
I haven't got into dogmen yet or anything.
Oh man, that's the one thing I'm really afraid of is dogmen. They're werewolves. They are weird. I mean, we could do a whole show just on dogmen. I've studied.
I'm not going to say no.
Yeah. But they've been seen here in Sedona in the daytime. Dogmen.
Oh my goodness.
They were my friends. These two women were my friends, and Summer, one walked right in front of her, 2:00 in the afternoon, a dogman. And the dogmen are real and they're dangerous.
Why are we getting more now, though? Like, you never heard of them. I still want to ask you about black-eyed kids. What you think? I got so much stuff to ask you.
You know what it is that there's so humans are there's so much overpopulation. They're forcing dogmen and Bigfoot out into the open. That's why you're seeing more Bigfoot sightings all the time.
So you don't think they're dimensional then? You think they
actually I don't know, but why hasn't they're so big feet are so, and they're all over the world, different form, Yetis, whatnot.
Yeah.
So how is it we haven't been able to make contact with Bigfoot or shot? Well, they've been shot many times, but they've never. I can tell you a story. A sheriff's posse in Louisiana shot the hell out of a Bigfoot. What was his name? His famous Ivan Sanderson. Oh, I got my memories coming back. I'm going to live. But Ivan Sanderson.
I know, but I've asked you a gazillion things, and you got so many stories to tell. So
Ivan Sanderson was one of the first paranormal researchers. Ivan Sanderson, check him out.
Okay.
So he had a story about in Louisiana a sheriff's posse was chasing.
Joe's not home because we broadcast out of the owner's house, Joe Montaldo. He runs International Center for Alien Research, and he lives in New Orleans, Louisiana. But go ahead. So Ivan
Montaldo, yeah, I know the name. I've heard the name.
Ivan Sanderson, you said.
Yeah, Ivan Sanderson. He was a no nonsense researcher.
Okay.
And so he was the main researcher back in those days. There was nobody better than Ivan Sanderson.
Okay.
Anyway, a sheriff's posse in Louisiana shot a Bigfoot to pieces, and it fell into a bush, a clump of bushes, and there was blood all over the place. But the sheriff's posse ran in there, and he was gone. He had been dematerialized. So they can do that. So I don't know what they really are. But
okay, so I'll ask you this then. Okay, so there's a YouTube channel. He's kind of a jackass. I'm sorry, but he is. He's a Canadian, and it's called How to Hunt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right.
He gets people to write stories, and he calls them a Sabe, right? The First Nations name for them.
Yeah.
And people have wrote in, and I know my partner Del, he's got a mind like I do. He researches a little different things than I do. So between one of us, we probably know about it. But anyways, there have been people that have shot Bigfoot out hunting, and there's a body still there, so it hasn't left.
Yeah.
And he insists, all these people have written in, they're starting to send pictures now too, that within 2 hours, regardless of where you live, if you got Bigfoot around, supposedly authorities can call this number, and somebody from higher up government, doesn't matter what country kind of thing, comes and collects the body, is what we heard. But there you go.
No, I would very much doubt that.
I doubt it too.
I would know. I would know about it if that's true.
I figured you would. That's why I wanted to ask.
Yeah, no, I would very much doubt that. Because I know people that would know about that. And they don't. They've never talked about that.
Oh, so Kathy's adding this. So she's in Florida, but she said after Mount St. Helen was erupted. Helicopters were carrying out dead Bigfoots. After Helene, same thing. They were carrying them out, helicopters.
Yep, that's absolutely the truth. It was the Air Force, the U.S. Air Force, that was involved in that when Mount Helen's, and they had there was a guy. I saw the show. It's something. Bigfoot at Mount Helen's is an incredible show, and it's true. It's truth. There was an Air Force guy in uniform walking around the Bigfoot that had his arm in a sling, and they were talking a language, and the guy it was a Bigfoot language, and they had gone. The Bigfoot, his family was dead, and the son of the Bigfoot was dying when they got there, but they took a helicopter down there to try to save him, and they were too late. And it's truth, because just by the way they talked about it. So he said that they had a stack of Bigfoot bodies that had been killed by the blast from Mount St. Helens at that Air Force base. Yeah, there's a movie about that. It's Bigfoot at Mount St. Helens, something like that, but it's a phenomenal movie. The blast killed everything: bears, moose, everything. So they had to get the bodies before they started to rot, because they were afraid it would create a disease, and it probably would have.
Where do you think giants come from? Because we're seeing more and more giants now too.
Oh yeah, well my friend Brad Olson. Brad's probably the top speaker in the world now in these conferences, but Brad does stories about giants, and I just that giant that killed that U.S. Army patrol in Afghanistan,
the Kandahar giant back in 2006.
Yeah, and that really happened. That it killed the whole patrol and ate them, and so they went back with another patrol. So their guns were ready when they got near the cave, and they killed it, and they took it out put it on it weighed something like 1,400 pounds. And he had a red beard. Now,
a lot of them do. Like, why do they have red beards? I have so many questions.
Yeah. Well, some of this I'm not positive about. I used to live in Reno, Nevada, and Virginia City up in the mountains it's a wonderful place. But there was a museum there, and they had a dead giant. It was the red-haired giants, and the Paiutes had killed it. There was a woman, geologist, had been there when I might have been Shoshones, but anyway, they killed the last red-haired Bigfoot, I mean, giant. And you know, in that cave in Elko, Nevada, I think Brad's been there. The Indians killed the very last of the red-haired giants, and they were pretty
vicious.
Yeah, pretty vicious. So yeah, this
like there was one scene in Canada. Nobody can get the story, and people are saying it's made up, it's conspiracy. And the problem is,
oh no, yeah, I know. There's so many. You know, there's there's a lot of BS artists out there. They just makes things up. I mean,
don't know if this guy is. So the reason, what I was going to say though, because of deep fakes and AI, but this guy, like, there's some things that you see in his video, and you go, I don't know about that. But the thing is, he's now dead since he went out there and talked about this. And he did take pictures of, there was like a UFO type light where he kept trying to go back. He got blocked. Then he was trying to see, he was just driving up in the mountains in Alberta. And he took his phone out, and then they had constructed a big shelter where he had seen this giant. And he was never allowed back there. And all of a sudden he recanted his story. And then he came back on 2 days later. Like, and it looked like he kept looking over to the side, like he had a script to read while he was recanting it.
Yeah, I heard that story. Yeah.
There's also, though, like, I have a good friend, one of my close friends. She's originally from the UK, married a Canadian, and now they live in Mexico. I can't believe the amount of giants that people are seeing down there too.
Yeah. Well, I saw another video about Afghanistan, and those giants, they're not the locals are scared of them, but
I would be too.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. There's a lot more of them. That wasn't the only one that the U.S. Army killed. There's more of them, a lot more. Because the military, the U.S. military, saw them in night vision scopes, going into villages and fraternizing with the villagers. They saw them on night vision scopes.
Oh my gosh! Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh God.
So I mean, we need to know. This is why I'm in this. We need to know about this stuff. I mean, there's a lot of people.
100%. We only got a few more minutes. There's so many things. I think if you're willing to come back on, we'll pick a topic. And try to stay on it because there's so much to talk about. What do you think black-eyed kids are?
Oh, geez. Well, yeah. There are things that I tell people, because I had a friend of mine, tried to talk to one. It was an adult in black eyes, and he said those things, they're a thing. They're not. And it was human, but it had black eyes. The whole eye was black.
Invited in too. They can't just come in. They have to be invited in.
Well, yeah, the kid. No, not actually. No, I don't know. The kids, the black-eyed kids are flat out dangerous. If they come up to your car and say, we want to ride, or we want to come into your house, don't let them in.
Because there's been a few people to live to tell about what's happened to them.
Well,
when they come.
Yeah, well, yeah, well, it's I mean, there's so many weird things. Like I say, this is one of the things that kept me in this for so long.
And me too.
I tell people, I just want to know what the hell's going on.
So do I.
Yeah. So yeah, the black-eyed kid.
Come from that story came out.
Yeah, I know. It's
86. Nobody had heard of them, and then people that I've read some stories of people like getting so sick, getting cancer right after, high radiation burns, and like then people are they vampires because they got to be invited in? No, that's not what it is. But they are so insistent, like they want to come in, or they want to ride, but they will not come in.
Yeah,
and then people get this intense terror. Like even one guy I think was like part of the Navy SEALs, like 6'6", pure muscle. Those kids were at his door, and he said he was shaking like he was 2 years old.
Yeah.
And what it just causes those feelings.
Well, yeah, I've been. It's long. It's a long stuff, but there's something that protects me. It's either a spiritual being or an extraterrestrial. I've been in situations that were dire, I wasn't hurt. So something very powerful watches out for me.
I'm glad.
Yeah, and well, somebody said the other day, well, it's your higher self, and I said, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
No, there's something watches out
Get
for
into
them.
portals and time travel, and like
Yeah.
I have so much stuff I want to ask you, and I know these guys in the audience are going to love it because they ask the same questions. They love talking about this.
But yeah, by the way, I think Saturday I'm going to be. Let's see, can I talk about this? Yeah, I'm kind of getting ready for it. They're going to try to do a new documentary on dimensions and portals.
Wow.
So I'm going to be one of the prime interviewees on
it. I'm super excited about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to do it, and so yeah. So strange world we live in.
Well, it's strange, but like I'm not a nosy person, but when there's things that come from out of that you've never heard of or you've never seen, or you hear people's stories, and you can feel into people's stories. Like there are people out there that can trick anybody, but on the whole, you can tell when someone's being sincere. And when you start hearing about these strange things going on, and then it starts to appear more and more and more and more people are talking about it or reporting it, like Bigfoot again. So you think they are interdimensional? I asked you something else. You think they're interdimensional as well?
Yeah, I've been asked that, and I'll say flat out, yeah, they're interdimensional. They're I've interviewed people that have been face to face with them. Mm-hmm. So and they're not stupid at all. They have a very humanish face with a great intelligence in their eyes. But then again, there are some Bigfoot that they're animals.
You're reading my mind because I've heard the same thing. Some of them, I don't know if it's a hybrid or what it is, but they are violent. They have hurt people. And the whole Bigfoot is usually very peaceful, right?
Yeah. They're very gentle. Like I said, I've interviewed people that have come face to face with them, and they, but then again, there's some I just heard about in Alaska. There's some that are there, and they look like Bigfoot, but I kind of question whether they are Bigfoot, but they're killing people in Alaska.
Do you remember okay, so this was back quite a few decades ago, but it was those Russian students that were hiking out in the.
Oh, geez.
Like what happened to them?
I've got, it was, I really got into that. The Kaladesh or something like that. I want to say it was the Bigfoot, because something really mangled those kids.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible.
Yeah.
And it went a loss too, because these kids were all in science.
Yeah, right.
Had really bright futures ahead, and it was terrible what happened to them. And nobody's ever and then again, we weren't there. Yeah, you haven't remote viewed there, have you? Because I was wondering, was there footprints around there? Because we heard there was no footprints or anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody says, well, did you remote view it? And I just don't have that much time to do all that stuff.
Well, plus you have to experience it, you said, too, when you're looking at a murder or something. And I don't want to go there and do that either.
No, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, one murder I got involved in, and that's why I say I will never do another one. Mm-hmm. A 9-year-old girl,
that would have broke my heart.
Yeah,
that broke my heart.
Little blonde 9-year-old girl. Yeah. So I had to experience all of it. Yeah. So that's why I say I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not going to do it. So.
That would break I'm almost in tears, and I don't cry very easy, but that just breaks, because I do follow true crime.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm fascinated. Again, what goes wrong with a human being to be
well, this I don't want to swear, but this guy, I could, I was called. I have a friend that's a awesome channel for the spiritual realm, and the being that she channeled said, you are a very powerful warlock, in a past life, and sometimes you can reactivate those abilities and use them. So I'm thinking, well, yeah, maybe that'd be kind of cool. So
I apparently am part of the, I swear to you, and I had it proven by two people that knew nothing about me. It's a crazy story. I've had a crazy life too, that apparently I was part of the fairy realm, queen of the fairy realm.
Sure. Yeah.
I was sister to Lady Titania, and the person that told me this, because he kept saying, I knew you. I go, yeah, I know you know me. We're talking. He goes, no, I know you.
Sure.
He used to call you Maeve. And he started explaining all this. I go, no, actually, my real name was Maven. Came out of nowhere. Then I drew, wasn't a familiar, wasn't my pet. In about, it was 3:00 in the morning after I had this conversation, the most beautiful Pegasus with wings. I knew her name. It was Chloe. We worked together. I'm getting goosebumps as I'm telling you. And we were equals. So maybe these are the abilities that we had. Maybe this is why we're bringing them forward. Like you said, we can activate them.
Yeah. I've said this many times. We humans, I know how powerful a human is.
Absolutely.
I can see it. And we've lost it. For some reason, it was drummed out of us. But I know how if one of us humans activates it, we are extraordinarily powerful. But nobody does. Very few people do.
Well, there isn't 1,000%, but I agree with you. That's part of my message. I say to people, we have no idea how powerful, incredible we really are as human beings.
Yeah. So as a remote viewer, I've said this a zillion times. I would, if I could do it, I would give it away free. And I had a friend of mine, he died recently of cancer, but
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but we were going to charge so little money, anybody can do it. But I have tried. I would like to teach millions of people to remote view. Millions.
Maybe you can teach me. We could do it together. We can teach people.
Yeah. But see, remote viewers, there's no secrets. A good remote viewer, this BS that's going on in the world right now, that most of that would end because the remote viewers, a good one anyway, you can't lie to them. You can't BS somebody. So that's why I try to give it away to millions of people on some of these shows. I spent a lot of time. I'd like spend 15, 20 minutes or better, and hoping that I could trigger enough people so they would trigger other people, and it would just keep going like a flash, So that was my intent, but because we've lost. It's been drummed out of us. It's been ridiculed out of us. A little kid like that Russian kid. They didn't ridicule him. Boris. But anyway, so he the kids have these experiences, but their parents say, "Oh, it's just your imagination. Don't believe that. You're just a little kid. You don't know." But they do. They do know. They would have experiences, because I've heard of some of them. Boris Kova, I think he was called, and he was his parents didn't ridicule him, so he got to be he could look into the future. He had a life on Mars, and he completely just talked about it. He could remember his life on Mars.
We are running out of time, so I'm not putting pressure on you, but everybody's saying fantastic show, great show and guest, terrific guest and great show. Sign me up for the remote viewing course. I told you before you came on, my audience was going to love you. I love you. I want to thank Julie Jean Bassett, because she's the one that connected me to you. I'd love to have you back on. I really, really would.
Yeah, I've got just let me know. We'll I've got some big shows coming up that they're going to invite me on, so I got to deal with that.
It won't probably be. I'm booking actually into end of January, and I've got some dates already filled up in February, so it'll be a bit of a break.
Yeah. Okay.
How can people get a hold of you? How can they get you?
They can't. I'm a reclusive hermit. I get.
Well, your book said.
Go on Facebook and type my name in, or just type my name in. I was on 38 places on Google. Had 38 pages on me. I don't know if I still do, but you can find anything you want to know about me. But I'm a real. I've been inundated. I'm pushing 80, and I have been inundated with like 50 emails a day, and I can't deal with that. But buy my book, Merging Dimensions.
Well, I can't. All these people are saying I would love to learn remote viewing. I would love to learn remote viewing. So I don't know, Tom. Well, I hope I'm just going to sign off to people here. You guys, if you don't go anywhere, because the light gate's coming up next with Preston Dennett and Dolly
cool.
Safran.
Yeah, cool.
Yes,
he's a good guy. He's a good guy. He and I are eye to eye on stuff. Yeah.
We got great hosts on this network, so you guys stay tuned for them. I also want to thank you, Tom, for being here. I'm not letting you go. I'm telling you, I was serious. Please don't sign off. I know you're probably going to go eat and stuff, but don't sign off.
No, I'm gonna go have a drinky poo. That's what I'm gonna do.
Oh well, you go ahead and enjoy. I want to thank everybody for being here. If you want to ever get a hold of me right now, you can get a hold of me on Facebook.com/Angel Rock. As I've said, I am setting up a course for the new year. I'm going to be teaching my first how to connect with, I guess, with your abilities kind of course. And then I'm going to try and put it all under one roof because you guys know I do resin and all kinds of stuff. I'm going to put it all in one place, I think. So, but you can get a hold of me on any social media platform. Facebook Messenger is the fastest if you need to message me. I do have a business page. Like I said, right now it's facebook.com/Angel Rock. 2 groups on Facebook: Paranormal University for all things paranormal, the Angel Rocker Tribe for more things spiritual. And don't forget, we will be back on Thursday, Dave and I, with the thing at the foot of the bed. Oh, actually, I'm going to be live tomorrow night on the network. I forgot about that because apparently I am joining Joe Montaldo and whomever else joins us because we are going to be watching the election results live in the US. I'm a Canadian, but hey, I was there 4 years ago, and I'm going to be back tomorrow night. Otherwise, we'll be back on Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you guys, thank you again because you broke a record for us on Thursday night last week with our Halloween party, and I can't thank you all enough. Thank you as well, TikTok. I thought I had the streaming key set up. Thursday, we're working this out. I swear you'll get to watch a whole show. Thank you for being there. Check out Michelle Wilfong on TikTok. She's got an incredible channel. I want to thank her. She does such a great job moderating over there. Thank you to all of you too. Much love and light. Stay spooky, and we will see you on Thursday, and then we'll be back with the Angel Rock, same time, same space next week. Okay, talk to you later. Thanks again, Tom.